My impression is that Ernest Hemingway said it for some reason, or at least that's the way I remember it. He didn't say it, he should have said it. But it was basically, and I'm probably paraphrasing, but basically you can't write if you don't read. As songwriting in this chain between Woody Guthrie and Bob Dylan becomes literature, that is indeed what happened.
Yes.
All of a sudden, songwriters couldn't rely on just consuming other songs that people before them had written for sources for their material. Woody was a reader. He was always a reader. There are people that believe he may have read every book in the Pampa, Texas library. All those ideas and all that way of thinking at that point in time, it doesn't come from thin air. This song of mine exists because of one book that I read at a critical point in my life and a critical point in our history. The book was written by James Reston. It's called Warriors of God. And it's about the Third Crusade now. I don't know about you, but we didn't get to the Third Crusade by the 8th grade, and that's as far as I got in school. So in Texas, they were still lying to us about what happened at the Alamo at that point. The Third Crusade, that was about Saladin versus Richard Coeur de Lion, Richard the Lionheart. Now I'd heard of him. I knew he was the King of England, but I didn't know, and I learned from that book for the first time that he was actually French. He spoke English as a second language. He's buried in France. And I learned from that book that Saladin was a Kurd, which I found even more surprising than the revelation that Richard the Lionheart was French. Because when we rolled into Iraq, there were statues of two people in that country. Those people were Saladin and Saddam Hussein, because Saladin was Saddam Hussein's hero. Which confused me somewhat, because we all know what happened to Kurds in the Iraq of Saddam Hussein. I also learned in that book, and this was probably the biggest thing I took away from it, because I've never been to Jerusalem. I learned from that book just how close together the Dome of the Rock and the Church of the Holy Sepulchre and the Western Wall are. One piece of real estate, no bigger than this building, folks.
Woo!
And for a couple of thousand years, people have been fighting and killing each other over that piece of real estate and how to go about worshiping the same God, not two gods, not three gods, but the same God, the God of Abraham.
Woo!
Now I wrote this song, people heard it and they said, well, you're writing about a lost cause, a hopeless case. But that can't be true, because I'm a recovering heroin addict and I cannot afford to believe in anything like a hopeless case or a lost cause.
Yeah!
Trust me, there was a time in my life when I was considered to be exactly that by everyone, including myself. So for myself, I'm just going to keep singing this song until I die or it comes true, whichever one happens first.
Yes!
helped his mom. None of this was good. Death machines were rumbling across the ground where Jesus stood. And the man on my TV told me it's always been that way. There's nothing anyone can do or say. I almost listened to him. Yeah, I almost lost my mind. I regained my senses again. To find I believed that one fine day the children of Abraham will lay down their swords forever in Jerusalem. Woo! Maybe I'm only dreaming. Yeah, I'm just a fool, but learning how to hate in Sunday school. But somewhere along the way I strayed and never looked back again. But I still find some comfort now and then. And the storm comes rambling in. I can't lay me down, and the drums are drumming again. I can't stand that sound. I believe there'll come a day when the lion and the lamb will lie down and feast together in Jerusalem. We can wash this blood from my hands and all this hatred from our souls. But I believe that on that day the children of Abraham will lay down their swords forever in Jerusalem. And we must believe that one fine day the children of Abraham will lay down their swords forever